Before I start off this video, I would like to make a brief announcement. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for helping me reach 100 and 200 subscribers. I also want to give a special thanks to everyone for subscribing and commenting down below. It really means a lot to me and I appreciate every single one of you. Previously, I made a video covering what I believe makes Thomas Shelby so irresistible, and till this day, it's still my most popular video on my channel. So to commemorate that, I decided to give you guys another Thomas Shelby analysis, but this time, instead of looking at what makes Thomas Shelby so irresistible, we'll take a different and closer look at the many aspects of Thomas Shelby's psychological makeup that almost no one wants to acknowledge within him. By simultaneously seeing Tommy's imperfections and trying to understand them without judgment, I hope that each and one of us can take something away from this analysis and hopefully better understand ourselves. Thomas Shelby is violent, he's ruthless, and mentally unstable, although his mental instability is rarely seen or recognized outwardly.
He looked at me the wrong way. It's not a good idea to look at Thomas Shelby the wrong way.
However, as we're viewing the world through his eyes, a world filled with injustice, we have to remind ourselves that what we are seeing is a skewed reality. What do I mean? Well, try to follow me here. Tommy isn't someone the audience is supposed to like. He's a murderer, a con artist, a thief, a gangster, and that's just to name a few. He constantly uses people around him, especially his own family, as pawns to justify the means to his own ends.
We're a couple of toy soldiers. Do this, John. Do that, John. Kill your sister, John!
Also, all of Thomas' adversaries are by the nature of the show's narrative presented in a way where his ruthlessness and antisocial behavior can be justified by us viewers. My point is, we never get to see Luca Changretta go home to kiss his wife or girlfriend on the cheek, nor witness Major Campbell ever so sweetly tuck his kids to bed. None of us have had the opportunity to see Alfie Solomons joyfully water the flowers in his garden or give money to the homeless. Luca Changretta's wife, Major Campbell's kids, and Alfie's guitar do not exist in the show as far as I know, and I've seen the show 5 times. Also, I'm aware that I'm rambling a bit now, but what I'm trying to say is that most of the scenes we see all of Thomas' adversaries in are for the most part a narrow and very skewed perspective, and there's a reason for that.
I want him to acknowledge that his anger is unjustified. I want him to acknowledge that he who fights by the sword, he dies by it, Tommy.
By taking away the human side of their personalities, it makes it all the more easier to accept Tommy's ruthlessness towards them. Had we gotten the opportunity to see the good with the bad in all of Tommy's adversaries, we might have hesitated to champion Tommy and accept all of his ruthless actions.
And what line am I supposed to have crossed? How many fathers, right? How many sons, yeah? Have you cut, killed, murdered, butchered, innocent and guilty, to send them straight to fucking hell, ain't you? Just like me! You stand there, you, judging me, stand there and talk to me about crossing some fucking line?
So, when I say that we're not supposed to like Tommy, I don't mean that Tommy is unlikable or that there's anything wrong with us rooting for him. If we didn't, the show wouldn't go anywhere, and Peaky Blinders as we know it wouldn't exist. What I'm simply trying to say is that when looking at Thomas' flaws in isolation and not in contrast to his adversaries, many of us would probably not condone or accept the things he does on a daily basis.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes, or I will cut away your f***ing eyelids! Now look at me. This is the end.
Tommy's work is filled with life and death battles, and the lifestyle he lives with all the over-the-top violence isn't one that most people would like to be a part of if it was our own lives at stake.
Even though what he does in all of the series, a lot of the actions are obviously morally completely at odds with what any of us would agree with. That's why people are fascinated by him, because we see in him a magnified version of what all humans are like.
However, interestingly enough, the anti-heroes that most of us look up to right their wrongs in largely unconventional ways that the majority of society isn't able to accomplish unless we're willing to risk jail time. Besides the obvious risk of reenacting Thomas' behaviors, anti-heroes magnify our moral ambiguity and vocalizes the dark voice within all of us. Through the safety of our living rooms, we're able to ponder our internal darkness and not be judged for it. A good fictional anti-hero like Thomas Shelby is carefully created in the film studios and are made and meant to be loved by the viewers despite their wrongful actions. Anti-heroes like Tommy scrutinizes the gritty parts of society and highlights what's wrong with the people within it, while simultaneously giving us the means to think about societal problems in an abstract way, a way where we are otherwise aren't not allowed to approach such controversial and dangerous topics by ourselves. For as ruthless as he can be, we're shown time in and time out that he's a very damaged man. For every atrocious thing he does, it is nearly always followed up by a scene showing his well-managed side. This gives us viewers a slightly skewed perspective, given that even the most evil or manipulative person you can think of have a nicer, softer side that is hidden from public view and is more or less ignored. It's partly why Thomas' brutality is stripped away from us. The writers of the show are intentionally showing us the everyday man that is part of Tommy's persona for every other bad or unjust action he commits to mitigate the obvious ruthlessness Tommy possesses. Ruthlessness is a very difficult character trait to assess. In highly competitive industries like politics or finance, many people assume that you need to be cutthroat or merciless to be successful. Otherwise, you won't win the hard battles or take big risks for big returns. In my opinion, ruthlessness is a double-edged sword.
Also, I think he's burdened with an intellect and trying to sort of move in the world of mere mortals who process stuff at a much slower pace. I think for Tommy is very, very frustrating.
On one hand, it allows someone like Thomas Shelby, who have a heavy intellectual mind, to stop overthinking situations and instead power through with brutal force when necessary, which can be very useful and has served him very well in many different situations. But on the other hand, ruthlessness is often synonymous with uncaring, unthoughtfulness, and a lack of compassion, which can hurt and serve as collateral damage towards people who one never intended to hurt nor harm. My takeaway from Tommy's ruthless character is that in some cases, one has to be ruthless to survive and thrive in a chaotic and ever-changing environment. But in order to justify being ruthless and demanding towards people you care about, one must be as ruthless and demanding towards oneself.